Missed you guys. Big time. Limited, Jair, Kenny Clark, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Josh Myers, Evan Williams, and then Colby Wooden did not practice.
So what can Marshawn get you? Obviously, you got a backfield's pretty crowded. They've all played pretty well. So how do you implement Marshawn? What can you get out of him?
We'll see where he's at, taking it one day at a time. And obviously, he's got a skill set that we really liked, and his ability to do some things out of the backfield as well as in the backfield. So we're just going to take it one day at a time with him, and if he can contribute, great. And if not, then obviously we've got a lot of confidence in those other guys.
What do you see from your pass rush right now, and just what gives you confidence in what y'all can do going forward with your pass rush following the trade of Prest?
Yeah, I think there's been components of it that's gotten better, I would say, throughout the course of the season. I think Half's done a nice job of mixing up different schemes, and whether it's games or different pressures to help generate some rush. But just really looking for constant improvement from not only those guys, but all our guys. And I think there's some things that we've worked on that to try to pinpoint, to try to generate a little bit more. Just fundamentally, I think there's areas where we are starting to make some strides in.
Matt, obviously, you didn't mention Jordan's name when you went through those guys, so he's a full participant. How much do you think over the first 9 games, what he dealt with the knee and what the groin impacted his play, and what would it mean for him to be healthy now going forward?
Well, I think everybody's dealing with something, I would say, but certainly when you're limited in your lower half as a quarterback, is really in any type of thrower, that can have a big effect on your ability to just move around in the pocket or throw accurately. So it'll be good to just get him some practice under his belt where he's fully healthy. That's the other thing, going back to last game, he didn't practice the full week. So I just confident that a full week's worth of practice and then stacking those days, will definitely be beneficial for him.
So it's like a chance to get him every snap. Is that what you want to do? And that's what he typically does.
Yeah, I would say that's a normal week for a quarterback, is to take every snap. That's why it's so tough, I think, when, in game, when backups have to go in and are forced to play without getting any of the reps. I mean, their reps are mostly on the show team. So, but yeah, it's good to get them throughout there through the individual practice, all that.
Matt, what's the challenge of preparing for the Bears offense when they make this sudden switch at coordinator and stuff? How do you look at that?
I'm sure there's going to be some unscouted looks, but that could be every week, especially when you're going into a division rivalry game. So you just kind of got to go off what they've shown on tape and really trust your rules.
Does it matter that you faced their coordinator last year, or is it just they got different players, you have a different defensive coordinator, and it's all irrelevant?
Well, I think that's something definitely that you got to take a look at. Now, we have a different coordinator too, and different schemes. So, but certainly, yeah, you're going to look back at everything.
Did you change up your practice at all?
Yes, we did.
How so? How do you think that benefits?
Well, I think that we changed up the schedule a little bit, and I think that's pretty typical, I would say, for this time of the year. When it gets dark here at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, you try to get them out of the building a little bit earlier. I'm not a big fan of the whole daylight savings, so not that anybody cares, but it does affect your body and how dark it gets here. But I think changing it up's good for our guys. Hopefully get them out a little bit earlier. We do a lot more, I'd say, or a lot less carded periods. So where it's our offense versus our defense, just to get that speed in, I think is beneficial. It's not like you card up the perfect looks. A lot of times you don't get them in the game. So I think it's beneficial just to get some good on good, if you will.
Is that something that you had done that last year too?
Yeah, we did that last year. I thought it was good for us last year. I thought that's when we kind of started to show a little bit more improvement. I thought it was important for the first part of the season, implementing a new defensive scheme that we get as many carded periods as possible. But I think we're to that point now where, we can do a little less cards and a little bit more, I would say good on good.
Matt, you like to run multiple tight end sets. How much have you missed Luke Musgrave this last couple of weeks or several weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Luke definitely brings an element that's hard to replicate, although I think everybody's done a nice job filling in for him. I think Ben's done an outstanding job, but Luke, he has that ability to really stretch the field. So we'll be looking forward to getting him back, hopefully sooner than later.
Matt, your guys obviously don't want to drop the ball, and I know you guys would like to reduce your number of drops, but other than Jug's work, what other things can you do to kind of get that trend turned around?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just making sure that your fundamentals are on point in terms of how you attack the football, not allowing it to get into your body. And so just kind of the emphasis is on that.
What have you seen from their pass defense? Obviously, they're really highly regarded in that way.
Yeah, I think this is a really solid, sound defense. It's been tough to go against over the couple of years, and over the course of, I would say, Matt's career going against him. I've always had a lot of respect for how he coaches and how his players play. So you can tell that they're an effort-based unit. I mean, it shows up all over the tape. Their style of play is exactly what you want. And when you combine that with really good players, you usually get a really good defense, and that's exactly who they are. They've done a great job of taking the ball away. They've done a great job, obviously, in a lot of those situational ball, third down, in the red zone. They're one of the best in the league in those two areas. So it's a really good challenge for us.
Do you think the more you can get Jordan under center, the better your play action will be? Or do you still feel like even out of the shotgun it's effective enough?
I just think every week's a little bit different in terms of this type of schemes you're going against, the type of run schemes you're implementing. You always want to be kind of cognizant and aware of what you put on tape and try to marry it up as best you can.
Do you feel like your play action's been effective or as effective as you'd like it to be?
It just depends what you define as play action, because what you guys might define, or PFF or whoever is putting those stats out there defines as play action, compared to like what we define as play action, might be two totally different things. So, well, usually throughout the course of my career, it's been like off of a legit run action, where we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit. Just where a lot of the times with those actions, you got a tight end trying to lock down a defensive end. I think a lot of these guys nowadays, they're very tough to block. So we've kind of gotten a little bit away from that and try to make sure formationally that we're presenting the same looks as we're running the football, and might be doing more chipping with the tight ends or whatever it may be, and getting those guys out into a route. So I don't know what you're trying to get at, Spoon, but I'm sure you're trying to get at something.
Me? It's something?
How does that happen? Like, because when you got here, we all kind of learned how one of the best things about your system was the way the runs and the play actions were married up, so opposing defenses didn't know what you were doing until the quarterback hit his third or fourth step. So how does that evolution, what causes that evolution?
I would say adapting to the game. Just this is a trendy league, and you see other things that people are having some success with, and then you start implementing it, and then all of a sudden you're getting some big chunk plays off of it. I'd say that's probably the primary, and then also personnel definitely plays a factor into how you adapt and evolve over time.
You guys, I mean, I think you're third in the league in total offense, you're top 10 in scoring, and yet your red zone numbers are not very good. Does that tell you that if you guys can get that resolved, you could be in a really good spot offensively? Or
Yeah, yes, you would think so. I think there's a lot that kind of goes into that, especially when you look at some of the red zone numbers. Certainly, we've had some critical mistakes, whether it's turnovers or whatever it may be, in the red area that's really hurt us. But I also think there's been a couple instances, and this marks you down in your red area where you finish in the red area, and maybe you're in victory formation. I know that's happened a handful of times this year. So, you always try to dissect the things you're doing well and what you need to improve upon. And I think this last week definitely gave us a good opportunity to do that. And just some of the miss-ops we've had, whether it's, we've had a couple drops down there that's really hurt us. So you just try to correct that stuff, and you would think that if you get that corrected, then you're going to score more points and you're going to be a heck of a lot better than what we are.
I know in the past you've said you needed to run the ball better in the red zone when you've struggled there. Do you think you're running it better there?
I certainly think there's some things that we can improve upon. I think the other thing that we've kind of have done to ourselves is we've put ourselves in some unfavorable situations with penalties that's knocked us back, and usually it's harder to run it down there, but when you're in those get back on track situations, you're going to pass it more. Most often, I would tell you, just to try to get yourself either to stay out of third down or to get yourself in a more manageable third down. Because if you get to 3rd and 7, 8, 9, 10 in the red area, I mean, that's tough sledding.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.